I'll go ahead and begin the meeting. Be sure to keep your phone on mute while you're listening so we don't have a lot of...
Oh, well, hold on here a minute. I didn't know that. I want to put my phone on mute.
Yeah, well, a lot of echoes back and forth if you don't, but if you need to speak, just hit that mute button and talk and go from there. All right, everybody ready?
Ready.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, keep your phones on mute. First of all, good evening, everyone. Thanks for calling in to this conference here tonight. Late this afternoon, we had some information come in from the buyer about an addendum, and I want Kirk Downey to be able to explain that to us for the contract expiring today. So, Mr. Downey, would you please carry the meeting and explain the process and why we're here today? Thank you.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. I believe we have buyer's counsel on the line as well. We have been in contact every day this weekend. As you know, the settlement of Fort Ritchie was supposed to occur today per the contract. Staff for the buyer as well as staff for the council has invested significant time in getting us to this point, and closing was ready to happen. Late Friday evening, the buyer was provided notice that Craig Marley had filed an action in the circuit court calling into question the propriety of the transaction. The buyer then duly notified the county. The county has been in touch with the buyer, trying to figure out what, if anything, notice of the suit meant in terms of the buyer's ability to consummate the transaction. And the buyer's has had conversation with its investors as well as with its title insurance company. And as you know, in any transaction regarding property, especially one of this magnitude, investors are going to want to be protected by the issuance of a title insurance policy. A title insurance policy is something that says the buyer has good title to the property. As a result of the lawsuit, the buyer has contacted their title company. The title company has not offered an exception at this point in time. They are still going back and forth. But what that means is that title policy cannot be issued at this time. So obviously the buyer would not be able to consummate the transaction, and the seller, the county, would not be able to provide good title given the pendency of the lawsuit. So where that leaves us at the end of the day, and after numerous phone conversations, is the buyer is prepared, wants to continue, wants to remain under contract, but is basically looking for a standstill agreement for 60 days to allow the county and the buyer to resolve the lawsuit. And that is the purpose of the Third Amendment. The proposed Third Amendment, which should have been circulated in the email I sent out to the commissioners and Julie as well.
Kirk, go ahead, continue.
Kirk, what did you call that, a standstill agreement? Kirk?
Yeah, yes, I called it a standstill agreement. Basically, it just leaves everybody in the position that they're in right now for a period of 60 days to for the county and the buyer to address the lawsuit that was filed by Mr. Marley.
Okay.
Any other questions for Kirk?
Yeah.
Kirk, this is Randy, if you don't mind for a second.
Sure.
So basically, we got a cloud here, basically, for lack of better terms. we couldn't sell it anyway. So my line of thinking is because we couldn't clean title to anybody at this point. So is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's correct. I mean, as long as this suit is out there, it's got to be resolved before we can convey it to the buyer or anybody else.
Right, gotcha.
Because they're all going to be in the same. They're all going to be in the same stature as John is now.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Kirk?
Yeah, so Kirk, Mr. Crumpetich is the one that's requesting the extension? Kirk?
Yeah, as the buyer, he is requesting the extension. The other option, if he doesn't get the extension, his counsel, to protect his rights as well as the investor's rights, would be serving us with a notice of default because we're unable to convey clear title as a result of Mr. Marley's suit.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to know. I wasn't clear on who was requesting it. So.
Any other questions for Kirk?
I have a quick question. This is Court. I was reading over the amendment here, and if we can get this court case settled prior to June 5th, I'm assuming we would be amenable to having an earlier settlement date.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That was Mr.
That sounded like
Krumpovich.
John.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, my understanding is that John and his team is fully ready to go forward, was anxious, was looking forward to consummating this transaction today, and want to do it as soon as they can. And now it's just a matter of addressing this legal issue.
Kirk Randy again. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, which in my professional opinion, and I guess I'm speaking for Tom as well because I've asked him this question directly, but our opinion is Mr. Marley's suit is without legal merit.
That was my question, Kirk, and I was going to ask Tom Lynch that, but it sounds like you answered it for me. Was there any, for lack of better terms, validity to this suit?
I don't want to speak for Tom, but I do not believe it is, and this is one of those questions that was covered by the buyer's title company. One of their questions was whether the county had complied with all applicable statutorily required notices, and they were satisfied that we did, which is why they were willing to proceed to closing.
Okay, gotcha.
Is that correct, Tom?
Thank you.
He's having trouble, I think, with the phone system, but that is correct.
Okay. Thank you, John.
That sounded like John. That was John
Yep,
again. Okay,
that was,
thank
yep.
you. I don't have any other questions, Kirk. It's Randy.
Hey,
So
Kirk.
just for can anybody hear me? This is Jeff speaking.
Is Susan still there?
I'm here, Terry.
How was this property actually advertised? Or who? How and
Originally,
where was it advertised?
it's always been on CoStar and Zoom Prospector.
I'm sorry. What was the second?
Zoom Prospector, which is the state of Maryland's website where we list properties for sale.
Okay. And what did you call that again for the state of Maryland? Spell that.
Sure, it's Z as in zebra, 2 O's, M as in Mary,
Gotcha.
Prospector.
Okay. Yep, got it. Okay.
Susan, Randy, you might want to clarify that CoStar, which is also LoopNet, basically what's left, there's joined that those are the go-to commercial sites all over the United States and beyond.
I mean, commercial property is not regulated by the National Realtors Association or any other association at all. There's no regulation that says that it has to be listed when you get a listing agreement. So commercial property can be listed by an individual broker or just someone off the street for that matter. Or it can be listed by, like we do, with other properties like this. We can list it anywhere on any of those commercial sort of retail sites. So that's what we did.
Mhm.
And the property has been listed on CoStar since Penmar Development Corp had it. It's been on there for years. All we did was update the listing.
Cool.
Okay. Commissioners, any other questions? I'd like to make a point of order. In my notes, I skipped over calling the meeting to order. I don't think that's important. If anyone has no objections, we'll just proceed with the meeting, noting that I did call the meeting to order after we started. Okay, folks?
Yes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't read my own handwriting. Sorry about that.
I'm fine.
Okay. Any other questions for Kirk about the addendum? If not, Kirk, I think you're asking for a commissioner vote to approve the addendum for the 60-day period till we resolve the lawsuit. Would that be accurate, or would you want to summarize the motion for us so we have it exactly right?
Yeah, the appropriate motion would be to authorize execution of the Third Amendment as presented, which would allow the president to sign that on behalf of the county.
All right. Is there
I authorize
looking for a motion?
I motion that we authorize the Third Amendment for the property to be signed by the president. Is that how it went, Kurt?
Yeah, that's correct. Authorize execution of move to approve the Third Amendment.
Move to approve the Third Amendment.
All right. Is there a second on that motion?
I second it. It's Court.
Who's that? Court? Is that Court?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners, I have a first and a second. Is there any further discussion or questions for Kirk?
I just have a quick question on this. Is this something that the court, we could get a summary judgment on, or do we have a time frame of how long this is going to take in the court case?
We're going to try and get it resolved as soon as possible. As you know, we are operating in a court schedule environment that we have never seen before. So we're going to do everything we can to get it expedited, and there are provisions in the court's, even the court shutdown orders to provide for emergency disposition. So we're going to be looking at how we can get this resolved as soon as possible.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? I have a first and a second. All the commissioners in favor say aye and say your name. Jeff, yay.
Randy,
Aye.
yay.
Harry, I'm sorry, there was an echo.
Randy's aye.
Court
Court is an aye.
and Terry.
Abstain.
Okay, and I'm an aye. The motion passes. I do want to ask Kirk Downey something. Wayne had a comment that this was last notice, but we weren't really informed of this meeting till last moment by the way the event. So people need to put on mute, please, everybody. Wayne was unable. Wayne's email stated it was kind of short notice, but I think we were all on short notice with the developing facts today. So perhaps an explanation to Wayne and the commissioners in writing would justify why we called this meeting at such late notice. And we did note his absence. Okay, the motion passed. I have a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, that's correct. Just to clarify, I mean, this wasn't, we didn't know we were going to have to be dealing with this, and, John's counsel was still trying to get direction from their end up and through this afternoon. And out of an abundance of caution, we thought we should actually have a meeting to authorize execution of the Third Amendment so that there weren't any questions about whether the commissioners had authority to act on this regard.
Okay. All right. With that being said, I need a motion to adjourn the phone conference.
Make the motion to adjourn. This is Court.
Is there a second? Second to adjourn?
Randy, second to adjourn.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Jeff says
Aye.
aye. All right. That's
Randy's
four.
aye.
Terry, aye.
Okay.
Four
That
aye.
concludes the meeting. All right. That concludes our meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. All right. Everybody be careful.